Hi everyone, thanks for watching TSP Creations. Please subscribe if you haven't already and hit that notification bell icon so that you are up to date with our content. So today on Fill Me In, and so instead of looking at a preview, we're going to look at a movie review. So we're going to be reviewing the movie
Annabelle Comes Home.
That's the one. So before we do that, there's a story that I would like to share with you. So a few years ago, I went and saw Deliver Us from Evil with my girlfriend. So during that movie, she decided that she had enough halfway through and she said she wanted to go home. So I was like, okay, yeah. So I went and dropped her home and I was driving home alone. So as I was driving, I came by a cemetery, and so in the movie, so when the lead actor is about to have something horrible happen to him, he'll get radio static in his FM transmitter, those police walkie-talkie stuff. So similar to that, as I was driving past the cemetery, my FM transmitter's radio frequency went off. You know, that same that static sound. So I started freaking out, and I just put my pedal to the metal and went home straight away, jumped into bed and fell asleep. And that was the last horror movie I saw. Now, I have not seen a horror movie since then. It's not because I'm scared or anything. It's just I just haven't seen a movie for other reasons, a horror movie. So you're gonna have to take me way back and show me this whole
Alright, okay, to start from the top, Annabelle Comes Home. It's part of a 6-movie franchise, falls under the whole Conjuring universe.
Right.
So it all initially started with The Conjuring. You probably are aware of it, haven't seen it, I suppose?
Yes, I haven't seen it, but I have heard it.
Yeah, so it's based on the real life events of Ed and Lorraine Warren, the paranormal investigators. They went through a phase where they were investigating a lot of cases. So that movie was based on one of them. So right at the start of it, that's where they mentioned Annabelle. That's where Annabelle's actually initially mentioned as the doll that's possessed by a demon.
Right, okay.
And so they grab it, they take it home with them, they keep it in their cult so it's safe in one place, locked away from the rest of the world. And all these money-making movies, then Warner Brothers took that pretty much took that idea, New Line Cinemas took that idea, drove it a bit further, came up with Annabelle, the movie. They started looking at how that doll came to be possessed.
Right.
So that's where the Annabelle movie storyline kicks off. Was, in my opinion, was a bit of an average movie. The story was really thinly written. Character-wise, well, was pretty bland, I'd say. And yeah, that was an average movie. And then they came up with Annabelle Creation, which looks into the prequel events. So everything that happened before Annabelle, from when the doll was first created.
Right, so is that before it was possessed, or was it possessed?
Before it was possessed.
Okay.
Yeah. So Annabelle Creation initially looks at, I believe the time frame of that would be around 1955-ish. If you were to watch the Conjuring universe movies in a chronological order, the Nun that came out back in the storyline of it is based in 1952. So Creation falls right after that. That looks at when the doll was initially created, the initial position of it, and all that. And yeah, so this new one falls right after the original Annabelle. So if you were to watch it in order again, it's a bit of a messy order. So it would be Annabelle Creation, Annabelle Comes Home, then Conjuring 2 or something like that. Yeah. So they take the doll from the student's apartment into Conjuring, take Ed and Lorraine Warren, pretty much take it home. Annabelle Comes Home starts out with that sequence where they're going back home, and then those guys head off for a night out or go over to investigate a couple of cases. And the time frame of this movie is basically what happens in one night when someone decides to mess with it.
Right, okay. So I take it that you've seen all 6 movies in this franchise?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, and how different is Annabelle Comes Home to the 5 other movies, like in terms of level of intensity, how scary the movie is, how many jump scare moments are there? So how different is it?
To me, as someone who watched a lot of horror movies, I didn't really see anything different. I mean, The Conjuring and The Conjuring 2, I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was pretty original, and the whole idea based on a true story, based on true events, I feel like it adds to the fear factor of it.
Right, okay.
Whereas with the rest of them followed the Nun, Annabelle Creation and all that, I didn't see any sort of, I just didn't feel scared. Because at the back of my mind, it's still like, it's a well written story. So you can relate to it. It's fine. But with this movie, they haven't really crossed any new line. They haven't explored any new ideas. The way I see it, I feel like the characters were really thinly written. They just based it around the whole doll and how it's just manipulating things, freaking people out. Jump scares, they were pretty good. There were a couple of good ones. I don't want to spoil it, but if you wait to watch it, there were a couple of good ones. The whole making aspect of it as well. It's nothing you've never seen before. But if you're into horror movies, if you love watching them, it's a good popcorn flick.
Okay, and this movie, do I have to have watched the other 5 to watch this one? And I said, how you mentioned this is probably the third one if you were to put it in order.
Yeah.
So do I have to watch the first 2?
Not necessarily. The way I see it, it's independent. It's an independent story of its own.
Okay.
So you don't really have to have watched the prequel series unless you want to dig a bit more into the doll. They don't really cover anything new in this. It's just what happens across one night when someone decides to play with it. That's all. So you can still enjoy the movie if you just look at it as a standalone movie. It's still fine. Yeah.
Given your experience on watching a lot of horror movies, so recently you made Nilla, which is a horror short, right?
Yeah.
So
Attempt. Yeah.
Okay, an attempt at horror.
Yeah.
Right. So taking your experience with Nilla, how you wrote it, and how you put in those scary moments, or how you visualize those. Did Annabelle, is there any similarities in Annabelle to that, or do you think it's just not comparable? Your horror is different to the type of horror that Annabelle is.
Different and same at the same time, if I would say that.
That's a bit contradictory.
And it's a bit of a diplomatic answer, I suppose. Yeah. When I was thinking of making a horror film, I had a lot of ideas. I was clearly influenced by a lot of horror movies I watched at that time. To name a few would be Conjuring 2.
Which is part of the Annabelle universe.
Annabelle universe, Conjuring universe,
Yeah. Okay.
Just with those 2 movies, even like with any sort of horror movies, if you look at it nowadays, there's a pattern you can see. It starts off with a really eerie atmosphere, jump scares, exorcism at the end of it, and then that's it. Even though I don't really dig the whole exorcism side of it, I feel like they could have finished it in a different way. When I was thinking of Nero, I just thought of it as, why not just make the whole atmosphere eerie, and add a couple of jump scares. The way I see it, a horror movie is a lot more effective if you can create like a eerie atmosphere.
Right. Okay.
If there's something eerie about it, you can pull the audience into it. I reckon that works a lot better than just cheap jump scares. Yeah.
Right. So did the fact that you made a horror short, did that change your perception or appreciation for horror movies more? That the challenges that you went through trying to create that jump scare moment. Did that change your perception after you've gone through that process? Did you go back and say, hey, I've seen this movie, I've criticized it so much, saying that it's a dumb jump scare or whatnot? And did you come to realize that maybe it's not easy after all?
Yes, it's definitely not an easy process. Before working on something like Neural, I would have heavily criticized something without knowing how much hard work was put into it.
Yeah.
But having said that, I do feel like movie makers and horror movies have come so far that we can do a lot more than just cheap jump scares. Because we don't want to be standardized. You don't want people to think, horror movie, full of jump scares, exorcisms will come out of it live. I just don't like the idea of it just being a standardized process.
Right.
So jump scares are good, everything's good, but be original about it at times. That's what I lacked seeing in Annabelle Comes Home. As much as it was an entertaining movie, obviously I would definitely pay to watch it because it's horror. It takes my mind off other things for 2 hours. It's enjoyable at the movies. When you dig a bit more into it, the characters are really thinly written. There's not much of a story or plot line to it. And if you ask me personally, I don't think there was a sequel that was needed at all, to be honest. The way I see it, big movie makers, they will still continue to milk it. And as far as I know, Conjuring 3 is in the making, which I'm quite looking forward to.
Okay.
And
so is that a milking factor there? That even though you think Annabelle wasn't really worth it didn't scare you as much as you hoped for.
Yeah,
But you are still looking forward to the next one in that whole franchise.
yeah, definitely. Because I mean, the horror went through a phase where it was just full on gore fest.
Yeah.
Conjuring, when it came out back in 2013, I believe, kind of upped the level a bit. You know, everyone saw, okay, it's a scary trailer. Let's go check the movie out. It was overall well-made scary movie. Enjoyed it. They've set that standard pretty high up there with each movie, each independent Conjuring movies they made. It kept going up the way I see it. Whereas all these spin-offs that came after, the non-Annabelle and all that, couldn't quite keep up to it. Annabelle Comes Home, the way I see it, it's tried its best, but it's still not quite there because it's pretty much run-of-the-mill stuff, you know?
Right. Okay. So and then when you went to see Annabelle, was that decision made based on what you saw in the trailer, or was it made based because it's the sequel to one of the films that you've seen before?
It was based because it was just purely a horror movie.
Right.
I would check that out. Any sort of horror movie that comes out, I want to watch it.
Right.
I mean, it could be crossly bad. I could still criticize it, and it could be fully enjoyable, fully scary, freak me out. I'm just fully love horror movies, man.
So okay. So and when you see horror movies, do you believe in those horror elements?
Not necessarily. It's really hard to tell, isn't it? I mean, I would like to believe that there's a bit more to it than what meets the eye.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I walk out and it's just like just a movie, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So lastly,
Mm.
Annabelle Comes Home.
Comes on. Yeah.
Yeah. So would you recommend that for me to go and watch in the theaters?
If you're a horror fan, if you enjoy horror movies, it's a good, entertaining popcorn flick. If you don't look at the whole storyline, dig deep into the whole character writing and all that, you can definitely enjoy that movie.
So if I were to sum it up, I would say if I want an entertaining movie that scares me a little bit, I'll go and watch it.
Definitely.
But if I were in it for the story, not recommended.
I would say give it a pass.
Cool. Okay. So there you have it. Thanks for watching. So like I said earlier in the video, please subscribe if you haven't and hit the notification icon to get notified of our video. So thanks for watching. Thanks guys.
Next one.